listening to the Multifamily Podcast, brought to you by Ron Ruiz and Martin Canchola, co-founders of ApartmentSEO, a premier Google agency, where we discuss current multifamily and real estate trends, apartment marketing strategies, and speak with some of the most influential thought leaders shaping the multifamily industry today.
Welcome back to the Multifamily Podcast with Ron and Martin. Time to get pumped because today's episode is going to be all about the future of social marketing, covering future potential social media trends apartment marketers do not want to miss. I'm so happy to introduce one of ApartmentSEO's very own rock stars, Charlotte Cocker, aka Charlie, ApartmentSEO's social media manager. Charlie, welcome to the Multifamily Podcast.
Thanks, Martin. I'm excited to be here chatting with you and Ron, so thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! I'm so excited about this. This has been a long time coming. Charlie, thank you so much for your patience on getting on today's call. Our schedules have been crazy, but we're so excited to bring you guys another action-packed podcast. Charlie, I just want to say that on behalf of myself and the entire team, you seriously have, and I want to share with the audience how much of a rock star you are. You have seriously elevated the ApartmentSEO brand, the ApartmentSEO social media division. And I personally have felt so much greatness from this elevation, and I have seen the progress, and I know that we're selling social strategies all day and every day, and you're very much a part of it. So for those listening, if you need social strategy, little shameless plug, you have the entire team, and you have this wonderful Charlie who's right behind us. So there you go. So can you dive a little bit into your experience as an assistant property manager for Davlin Investment Property Management? What was the day in the life of Charlie back then when you first entered the industry?
Yeah, totally. So back when I was in college, I actually started out as an RA, which was a company called EDR back then. I believe it's now owned by Greystar. But back then I started out, just kind of overseeing the dorms and, occasionally giving tours and just kind of resolving any roommate conflicts. And then later, once I was finishing up my master's program and didn't really have time for it anymore, I was actually offered a position with Davlin Investments at a nearby property just as a leasing consultant. And I loved it so much. And I just kind of naturally fell into the pattern and the routine of it and all the great people that I got to work with and, all of the residents. And I very quickly worked my way up to becoming assistant property manager there. The day-to-day just kind of looked like overseeing all of the residents, dealing with all of the payments, financial things, doing all the lease agreements, and just kind of the day-to-day interactions. And honestly, one of my favorite things I do have to say about leasing is just all the people you get to meet. And, there's something so special about going through that whole process of touring someone and going through their application and then their move-in date. You're literally helping people find homes, and there's something so fulfilling about that just made me love it. And, to this day, now I'm in social media marketing and I still get to kind of help people out with that. So it's kind of come full circle, but that's where it started.
That's so awesome.
When you first broke into the multifamily industry, did that kind of play a role in you looking, at ApartmentSEO, and how did that kind of play in, how did you discover us really?
Yeah. So a little bit of background, my degree is in creative writing. So I love writing. Writing has been my passion since I was a little kid. And, I fell in love with leasing and the multifamily industry. And I was like, how can I combine the two? And I originally started out in content writing for a different marketing firm. And then I found ApartmentSEO and was just like, they stand for everything I believe in. Of course, you look into companies before and, looking at what Ron had to say, as well as you, Martin, and just kind of being like, this is a company that I stand behind their beliefs and I could see myself really thriving there. So it was a great way to combine, my passions together and find a great place to work and really fit in. So thanks for having me,
Welcome once again.
You've been rocking and rolling ever since. So, okay, so now it's time to get into the future of social apartment marketing. So Charlie, I was reading through a great post. It was on the socialmediaexaminer.com. I will link in the transcription when I post the podcast on the topic of social media marketing trends for 2023. It had predictions by the pros. Lisa Jenkins was the author. There was a total of 28 future potential social trends covering a wide array of social media platforms. What I did, I wanted to cherry pick 10 of the most relevant topics for the multifamily industry so we could get your perspective on each one based on your experience as an apartment marketer. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic. Let's do this.
Okay, so the first social trend is short form video leads the content mix. What's your perspective on short form video and how apartment marketers should be utilizing it?
Yeah, so over the last few years, we've seen this huge increase in short form video, and honestly, it is fantastic. It's a really unique perspective that we don't necessarily normally get to see of properties. For example, when you look at websites and tours and leasing, it's all very professional, very eloquent, very purposeful. And then you see social media where you get to kind of let loose a little bit more, you get to have a little bit more of that personality. And short form video just takes it to that very next step. And it makes everything so tangible. It makes leasing and makes these properties seem like they're right in front of you and like you can actually connect to them. So especially for property managers who are on site every single day, it's a great place to start. You have this unique perspective because you are on property every single day. You know things that a lot of other people don't know, and you have a voice and people actually want to hear it. Sometimes you might think like, I can't come up with content, like no one's going to watch my TikToks. They are. People love these videos of like, get ready with me or a day in the life of a property manager. People want to see your point of view and people are watching. You have some experiences that no one else can speak for and people want to see that. And if it goes hand in hand with promoting your community, then definitely do it. Of course, it's something we wish that we could kind of do for a lot of more clients, but it's that perspective of being on site every day. It's a perspective that really only you can showcase. And we always recommend doing that supplementary to whatever, social media package you currently have. Keep giving that point of view, keep filming on site. It's going to go perfectly hand in hand and build a very nice social presence that everyone definitely needs.
And I've always said that our industry could so have its own reality TV program. So there is so much content and the day in the life of the property manager, as you mentioned, that we can do tons of shorts, right? And so I say have at it, have fun. And to your perspective, give them the insight. Okay, so social trend. By the way, I love this, Martin, where we're gonna like go into the trends and then hear from our subject matter expert. So social trend number 2. So AI content recasts content creation models, obviously. There's obviously a lot of buzz around with the rise of ChatGPT and other AI-enabled products. So my question for you is, what are your thoughts on the AI-generated content products like ChatGPT, and if it has a place in our toolbox as apartment marketers?
Yes, it definitely has a place. And I have to say, the idea of robots is so terrifying, but they're so helpful. In ChatGPT, it's one of my favorite resources. And like, I can't emphasize how much I wish it was around when I was in college. It would have completely changed the game for me. But now that we do have it, we need to definitely utilize it. And of course, just like any resource, it does have its pros and cons. I always tell people that it's important to remember that this program should be used as a resource and not something that you solely rely on. You want to use it if you want to, for example, spruce up your writing or offer you some ideas or kind of give you a starting point or a jumping point for a topic, an essay, an email, whatever you're working on, but do not rely on it solely. We always talk about room for human error in anything that people do, but there's also room for AI error simply because it doesn't have that human understanding. It doesn't have that human perspective. And if it did, that would be absolutely even more terrifying than it doesn't. But, later on, I'm going to be talking about, how important it is for authenticity when it comes to your social media. And it's so hard to sound authentic if you're using content that is written by a computer. So whatever you do utilize from your chat, GPT or AI, make sure you're still giving it that human touch and sprucing it up a little bit and not just solely relying on it, but definitely utilize it and play around with it.
Totally. Yeah. ChatGPT, I mean, it's all based on the prompts you input too. So if you have really bad prompts, you're going to get really bad results versus like really good prompts and how you prepare it. And you still got to QA it by a human because it's not perfect as of right now.
I was just going to say
but
the
still
QA
so much opportunity within that, and even Google releasing their Bard as well. So we really look forward to what the future holds for that part. Social trend number 3, brands prioritize LinkedIn and TikTok. Have you seen a rise in property management companies and communities wanting to utilize LinkedIn and TikTok more, Charlie?
Yes, 100%. LinkedIn, we always see it being a great resource for property management companies and specific people within the multifamily industry and professionals. It is one of those things that because it is B2B rather than B2C, you don't necessarily want to see it for individual properties, but you definitely want to use it to connect with other individuals, use it to connect with vendors, use it to just build a network and just really represent the corporate account on there. I don't know if I can give this away just yet, but we do have a new corporate account option coming out soon for social media at Apartment SEO. So I'm going to throw that in there real quick as well. And it really is a great opportunity. LinkedIn is absolutely amazing for corporate accounts. Your posts are going to get so much reach. You're really going to build a brand and just connect with other individuals in the industry. So I highly recommend utilizing it as much as possible and sharing things. Share on the daily. Share like it is a social media platform for professionals, like it is. TikTok, on the other hand, it's great for properties, but not so much for corporate accounts. I kind of say that they're one or the other. So, as I already mentioned, TikTok is a great way to build that authenticity and reach. But sometimes we kind of find a very thin line between authentic and unprofessional. So you always want to consider timing and balance. For example, if you kind of have an emergency going on at your property, there's a flood, or, something bad is going on and your viewers are seeing you posting like a dance video on TikTok, they're going to be like, dude, come on, you can't answer my emails, but you can dance on TikTok. Like, it can definitely confuse people, or like, you have a very professional CEO doing these like TikTok challenges and stuff. Like, you might lose a little bit of respect for them, unfortunately. So just make sure everything you're doing represents who you are and what your brand is, because those TikToks can come back to haunt you, So just be very, very considerate of what you're putting out onto the internet and into the world, because we are our own brand,
Powerful.
It is very powerful. Yeah. Don't let the fame get to you, right? Be getting sillier and sillier, and then you lose your credibility. Very cool. So social trend number 4, Facebook messaging becomes an important revenue channel. It's about time, right? So based on your experience, do you see an increase in message volume for qualified leads for our industry?
Yes, we definitely do. Social media, as you guys already know, it makes it so much easier to connect and communicate with other people. The only downside that we generally see to this is we have a generation of people who are just used to instant gratification. We kind of expect that if we message a property at 2 a.m. when we're, apartment hunting or on Zillow and looking at our dream houses, that we're going to get a response at 1:30 a.m. And sometimes it's just not feasible, simply because property managers and leasing agents, they're people, they need sleep too. So something that I personally always recommend to property managers and anyone who's in the industry is to make sure you have your automated responses turned on, even if it's something just as general as, thanks for your message, we'll get back to you at 7 a.m. tomorrow when we're back in office. Just something so that people are getting a response. They know that someone is listening, and that they know that they're going to eventually get the answers that they need, even if it is not instant. But this is also kind of a great way to circle back into AI, because there's a lot of great AI technology that can respond to those messages for you and answer those just general, what is your pricing on a 1-bedroom? Where are you located? That kind of thing that you don't necessarily need a staff member to answer, but AI can do that for you.
Yeah, handle it in real time. You're still sleeping. Get that qualified lead in the door.
And acknowledge.
Mm-hmm. All right, social trend number 5. SEO supports expert positioning and discoverability on TikTok. Do you see TikTok becoming a more relevant search engine for people to discover and find their apartments in the future?
Yeah, so, over the last few years, we've seen this kind of shift in TikTok, where originally it was just kind of lip syncing videos and dancing, and now people kind of use it as a source of knowledge. I've learned so much on TikTok. At first, I was very like, okay, I need to avoid it. I need to not be on there because I'm going to be addicted to it. And the next thing you know, you're addicted to it. And you're watching all these videos that just teach you like these life hacks that you had no idea about, and these recipes and all of this crazy stuff. So yes, you want to use TikTok to kind of talk about your community and just get your voice and your name out there. While you might not necessarily see it as one of those instant generations for residents or for prospects, it is a great way to just kind of reach out to people and kind of get that followers, which can then turn to people who visit your website, who can eventually lease with you. But you're not necessarily going to see that huge turnover rate, or not turnover rate, that, let me rephrase that. You're not exactly going to see that conversion of followers to prospects like you would on Facebook or Instagram, where people are on there specifically looking at your page, because your videos could show up to just about anyone due to the algorithm in TikTok. So you kind of have to just stick with it, and also make sure you give people the resources where if they click on your link or they click on your profile, they'll be able to visit your website and see all your information. So just make sure you're giving them the sources so that they can follow through as well.
That's fabulous. Yeah. And you spoke to our love language in multifamily property management, where, what is the conversion for that traffic? So I think that we're still learning the value of it when you're, paying the bills. And it definitely takes time to obviously get those out there, but you can definitely create a brand voice and, represent yourself accordingly. So speaking of TikTok, YouTube leans further into shorts, right? So with the massive rise of TikTok that you've been speaking of, YouTube Shorts is a great alternative for apartment marketers. But do you see it as a viable option or alternative to just TikTok?
Yeah, so as we can tell, TikTok is doing something right, and every single platform is taking something away from it.
Yeah.
We now have Instagram Reels, we now have YouTube Shorts. People are really catching on to the short form video content, which means it is doing something right. Um, a lot of the time we'll see these trends kind of pick up, but they won't necessarily translate to other platforms. When you kind of think about YouTube, for example, you see it more as a search engine, right? You go on TikTok, you look at your feed, you see whatever's given to you based off of what you generally like. YouTube, on the other hand, you go on there with kind of a mission. So, if you're sitting down on the evening for like your nightly scroll, right, you're going to go on TikTok. You're not going to go to YouTube Shorts necessarily. So, of course, we're still kind of learning about it. But I think in regards to the apartment marketing industry, it might be a great place to start simply because people are going to be looking for those things. If you don't think your video is necessarily going to show up on a For You feed on TikTok, it could on YouTube because people might be looking at apartment hacks or apartment living videos. So it kind of gives you a much more niche audience where you can really thrive. So I would definitely recommend giving YouTube Shorts a chance, as well as TikTok. You could even use your same content or format across both and see which one it lands better with and just kind of change your tactics based off of your results.
Yeah,
That's great advice.
I'm totally an active user of YouTube, it being the second largest search engine as well. I'll be using YouTube, you just refresh it and it'll automatically give you like new videos and stuff that are probably recommended based on your search history and what you watched before. But what I noticed for the apartment marketers, that there's not as many competing YouTube shorts. So there's a lot of long form video with YouTube that are, just regular YouTube videos, and the YouTube shorts, they have to be like vertical video, 30 seconds to about a minute. And there's less of those actually competing. So if our apartment marketers, property management companies actually start building these out and start getting that exposure now and that positioning, I mean, they have a good opportunity to kind of be showcased pretty well. So next, let's get into social trend number 7. Brands embrace YouTube ads and Performance Max. I still feel like these two campaign types are still pretty underutilized by apartment marketers. I feel like the biggest thing holding them back is actually video content. What would you recommend to them to help them, kind of get over that and somehow get that video and embrace YouTube ads and Performance Max campaigns?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on that, Martin. Video content is completely underused in the multifamily housing industry. And it's a shame. During COVID years, we did see a big increase in virtual tours and people utilizing videos more than ever. And we kind of moved away from that. And I don't think we should be. I think you have a lot to show on these videos, just simply walking through your property or, sitting by the pool or touring through a 1 bedroom or comparing your different floor plans. There's a lot of footage that you can work with. You just kind of have to get a little creative with it. We really recommend taking the time to film some beautiful on-site videos. And that'll differentiate you from the competition because, if you're actively searching for apartments, you're going to have a lot of ads come up that are about apartment living and a lot of communities and properties. And, those video ads are another opportunity for you to reach this audience that a lot of people aren't utilizing. So this is a great time that I would highly recommend start getting in on those and take a chance with YouTube ads. See how it goes. And just, next time you have a professional photographer in at your property, ask them to do video content as well. Or, do the video content yourself. Just get out there, start filming. You can definitely even go in and edit it yourself and resize it. And you'll have a lot of content to work with that you can even utilize on other, video formats as well, such as TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Just start filming and you never know what you're going to get from it. But it's always a great place to just start.
That's great advice. And I know that a lot of people were even doing something as organic as just still texting, the prospect as they needed additional info, right? So whether it's on their site or on your social channels, even just having that content to be able to send out in real time, like here's your actual unit that we're talking about on the phone. Here's a virtual tour. Super cool. Okay, well, here's social trend number 8. If you're ready, we're almost wrapping up to our top 10, right? Real relevant stories win on YouTube. So obviously there's a massive opportunity we've been talking about this, for organically ranking YouTube videos on Google's number 2 search engine, as Martin mentioned. If apartment marketers took the time to capture these stories and moments, could they really ignite their website traffic? So what are some ways PMCs and communities can embrace organic YouTube videos to create more immersive visual experiences?
Yeah. So as I was talking about earlier in regards to the multifamily industry really being about a home, you really want to feed into the concept that, it's a home. You're helping people find a home, and emotion is key when it comes to this kind of thing and when it comes to these videos. It is literally your job to help someone find that home, and it really should not be overlooked. And when you are creating content, think about who's going to stop and take the time to watch your video. And talking about TikTok earlier, attention span has gone down significantly. If people aren't interested within the first couple seconds, they're going to stop watching.
Yeah.
So, give people something where when they start watching it, they connect to it. And everyone can connect to this concept of home. So tug on those heartstrings if you can. Tell the story of someone in your community who maybe moved across the country and found a home in your community. Of course, with their consent to talk about that kind of thing, or if they want to sit down and film with you, or someone who is scared to make that big move across the country. Tell their story because people will connect to that. There's so many people who are always contemplating moving or taking that big leap of faith. And if they see someone else doing it, they'll be like, hey, I could do that too. And this community looks like they're so accepting and they were helpful with it. So I could do that too. And you have an amazing team on site, right? You have your leasing staff, you have your maintenance techs, you have so many people who are just there with so much knowledge that needs to be shared. One of my favorite viral videos that was going around for a while was the things I wish my dad taught me. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see those ones in the past, but it's just this dad who teaches stuff that he wishes his dad would have taught him, like how to change a tire, how to fix your AC, what type of oil to cook with. It's basic things that if your dad didn't teach you, like it's so good to know. And no one wants to ask that kind of thing, so these videos are so great. And there's a lot of things like that, as someone who lives in an apartment where I'm like, my AC went out. Is that something I can fix, or do I have to call up the maintenance team? I'm going to look it up and see if I can fix it. And if I come across someone with a great insight, I'm going to believe in them and I'm going to want to get to know them and watch their videos and see what else they have to offer. So, talk to your staff, see if there's something they want to share. If you have a maintenance tech with an amazing background in repair or auto mechanics or just anything that you think people will want to know, ask them to film and just tap into these emotions and just share knowledge and connect to emotion. And that is honestly your recipe for success when it comes to these videos.
Love it. I'm like, Dad, can you help me lease my first apartment?
Yeah.
All right.
Totally.
Social trend number 9. Twitter Spaces takes hold. I know there's been quite a lot of moving and shaking around since Elon Musk took over Twitter, but what's your opinion on Twitter as a place for marketers to be and Twitter Spaces overall?
Yeah, so Twitter has definitely, like you said, gone through a lot of changes and a lot of emotions and a lot of mixed opinions. Generally, we don't see too much of a success when it comes to apartment marketing through Twitter in general, simply because it's very text-based, right? If you see a tweet come up that says like lease our apartment, you're going to be like, okay, cool. Like, what do I know about that? And you're still limited with text. Photos are a huge part when it comes to apartment marketing. And without that, it kind of limits you a little bit. And Twitter Spaces is it's this new platform that I would almost compare to like Clubhouse, right? So it's going to be kind of an opportunity to sit down and to talk and utilize knowledge of others, which makes me think it would be a great place for corporate accounts to start rather than, properties themselves. If you want to find a spot to sit down and discuss marketing trends with vendors or other property managers or other corporate accounts, I would recommend checking out Twitter. It would be a great place for, corporate to start.
That's a great idea.
That's a totally great idea. Okay, social trend number 10, authenticity rules over curated perfection in the Instagram feed. And obviously, we always know that IG isn't always what it seems. What's your take on more authentic content creation for apartment marketers on Instagram over curated perfection?
Yes, I have a lot of opinions on this one. So
Yes.
I already mentioned it a couple times. Authenticity is key. On social media, we live in a time of Kardashians and Photoshops and filters and perfection, and no one relates to that. You know what I mean? Instead of, I don't look at a picture of these people and be like, wow, that feels like me. No, I see like a TikTok of someone living with their cats and eating Taco Bell, and I'm like, yeah, that's me,
Yeah.
Be authentic. People love authenticity and people relate to it. So yes, what we want to see is people living their best lives in their apartments. So for example, if I see an authentic post from a property about one of their residents' cats celebrating a cat birthday, I'll be like, yeah, I want to live there. If I see a photo of a perfectly staged apartment unit that's completely empty with no personality, I'm going to be like, okay, You know what I mean? There's a huge difference
Mhm.
there. These apartments are where we live, and seeing these blank, empty shells of a house does not give us a feeling of a home. So I would much rather see a photo of, if you're doing a pool feature, right? Show us a pool with friends and family lounging around and hanging out. Don't show me a staged picture that's supposed to like look elegant. And something I always compare it to is like those Vegas ads, right? Where you see the people walking out of the pool in slow motion with their giant sun hats. And it's just like, if I see that, I'm like, I don't want to go there. I want to go somewhere fun. So always think about how you're making your audience feel. Are you going to make them feel secluded? If you're being authentic, they're going to feel like they belong. And that's something that you really, really need to tap into. So when you take a look at your Instagram feed, for example, or your own profile, just take a minute to just really look at it and see if you were a prospective resident, do you relate to the content you're putting out there? And if the answer is no, it's time to reconsider your approach. And it's always fine to restart. You never need to say like, oh, we've already been doing our posts for 2 years. We can't restart. No, restart. Come up with a new concept. Keep posting. Don't delete your profile, but just start doing a new voice, do a new approach, and you will definitely notice a difference.
Audience,
That's
are you
great
listening
advice.
to this? This is some great advice.
Yeah, that's totally great advice.
Okay,
And
so
I
we're
love
gonna
it where
go
people
for it.
can't think I'm sorry. I love it that where people think that they can't just start change the voice. How dare they, right? But it's like, I mean, worst case scenario, you can try it out, right?
Totally. And I feel like there's so much authenticity and rawness of being like, hey, we tried something, it didn't work, so we're going to try something else. Brands that do that, when they rebrand, you don't think less of them, you think more of them because they're listening to their audience, and that's how people want to feel.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
referrals sound fast.
We are marketing to different walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds. Yes, certain properties, obviously, with their rents are they have a select audience, I'm sure, that can afford it. But you definitely want to show that authenticity about everybody that can afford it. We don't all look the same, walk the same, have the same jobs, right? So, maybe you're a cat person, I'm a dog person. Like, bring it all.
Exactly. Showcase the best about everyone. And, social media, as we all know, it changes. Something that worked last year might not work this year. So don't be afraid to try new things. Like, honestly, people are so sometimes to put out a post that looks different to what they normally do. But what is the worst thing that's going to happen if you put a post out? It doesn't land. It doesn't get as much reach as it normally does. And that's okay. That's how you learn. Don't be scared to try something new because you might just kind of knock it out of the park, or it might be a swing or the miss, but you don't know until you try. So keep trying, keep learning, and everything that you do, just take it as experience and learn from it. Never be embarrassed or ashamed to say, I tried it and it didn't work. You should be proud to say, I tried it and I learned from it. So keep trying.
Preach.
You'll get it eventually.
Amen, sister.
Okay, so we went through the top 10 from the article, but we want to give the audience a little bit of a bonus. Social media trend number 11. Charlie, what's one other future social trend you see taking place over the next year that apartment marketers will want to keep an eye on?
Yes. So something that I have seen this year that I've always seen that is constantly growing and something that stands out a lot to me personally is talking about and showcasing your employees. How your company treats their employees tells consumers how they're going to be treated. So for example, like if you walk into a leasing office and the staff looks overworked and miserable, that's going to reflect on how they think they're going to feel as a resident because their leasing staff works with them every day. If you're not treating them right, how do they think they're going to treat the residents? So a happy team leads to your team believing that what they're doing, believe in what they're doing. And that means that it's going to help everyone all around. So I always recommend spotlighting your employees on your social media. Find reasons to talk about them, celebrate their anniversaries, celebrate their birthdays. They got married, give them a shout out. Whatever they're doing, show the world about your employees and show that you care. Once has developed, you will see significantly more employee advocacy, and your employees will want to share posts and they're going to want to engage with you. They're going to be like, hey, look, my company gave me a shout out. My company likes me. My company believes in me. And who knows, someone's grandma might be the next person that moves into your property because they shared that post.
Mhm.
When you look at a company's posts, just in general, you're going to see that the ones that get a lot of engagement and likes are the ones about the people because the people stand for what you're putting out there. When it comes to multifamily housing industry specifically, when I see posts of, the leasing team looking happy, celebrating a birthday, it makes me happy because if their team is happy, then I know that they stand behind what they're putting out there and that they're proud to lease those apartments, It says a lot. It really does about how you treat your employees. And one of my favorite social pages to look at is Patagonia. I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar with their social pages, but they are fantastic. Their employee advocacy is truly admirable, and it reflects in their numbers. So because they do have a lot of clothes, for example, rather than showing them on these models, they show them on their employees. They show their employees going out camping and wearing their jackets. And if their people stand behind their product that they're selling, it says so much. Like I already said, but I'm reiterating it. It says so much. And they share things like they shut down their office so their employees can go vote. They show pictures of like their vice president's kids celebrating birthdays. They make their employees feel like they are the brand, and that resonates with just about everyone. And this tip isn't just about the multifamily industry. This is for everyone. What you say and what you share about your employees reflects, and it's going to do a world of good if you start kind of spotlighting them a little bit more and making them feel loved, because it will reflect in the work that they do.
That's great. That's wonderful advice. And to your point, it's not just for multifamily. And you definitely have elevated us as well, our brand voice, with that. And I love seeing the review or seeing the post, but also seeing the responses. And, to your point, maybe somebody's grandma or mom or sibling or relative will like it and comment. And it continues to give the warm and fuzzy feeling. So I love that. Thank you. I also get to know whose birthday it is because we're getting bigger and bigger. So I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't realize it was her birthday this month. Okay. Happy birthday or happy anniversary. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that obviously covers our top 10 plus bonus for social apartment marketing trends. From our very own Charlie. Honestly, the social media maven. We love you, Charlie. Thank you so much for joining us on today's Multifamily podcast. I mentioned before, I just love everything that you brought to the table for us. And I know that you have just gotten started and you have a growing team. And so bring it on. Let's do it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today. And thanks for giving me an amazing place to thrive. I love Apartment SEO and I stand behind everything that we do. And, it shows on how you guys treat us and that reflects in the work, so I'm so proud to be a part of this team and to have the opportunity to sit down and just chat with you guys and talk about social media. And I'm pretty passionate about this stuff. I hope that comes across. This is so much fun and I can't wait to talk more about it and see it progress. So thanks.
Well, come on back anytime.
Always. Yeah, we really appreciate you being on the show today, Charlie. Thanks so much for joining us. And I always appreciate like our little conversations we have, before or after the podcast, and just you're such an interesting person. You have so much, going on, and, we have a lot of things, you're all about the scary stuff too. So I really dig that about you. So I just love everything about you. So keep up the great work and, keep really helping our clients really take it to the next level for their social strategy. Sure. All right. You know what time it is. Make sure to subscribe to the Multifamily Podcast at multifamilypodcast.com. We are on iTunes, Spotify, so please leave us a review as well. Also, don't forget, get your free marketing analysis and reputation report card at apartmentseo.com to learn more and how we can help your community thrive online today. Until next time, bye everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Multifamily Podcast, brought to you by co-founders of Apartment SEO, a premier Google agency, with your hosts, Ron Ruiz and Martin Quinchola. Join us again next time as we continue to bring you the latest and greatest in the multifamily industry.